Something is brewing in Philadelphia. You can feel it in the air, that quiet tension before the storm. Because when Howie Roseman starts making phone calls in the middle of the season, it's never just a small move, it's a signal that something bigger is coming. The Eagles have done it again. Another headline. Another unexpected trade. This time, for a name that once struck fear into quarterbacks across the league, Jaire Alexander. Once an elite corner, a shutdown artist in Green Bay. But lately? His career's been defined more by ice baths and injury reports than interceptions. Still, when Philadelphia calls, there's always a plan. Late Saturday night, the deal dropped, a 2026 sixth-round pick sent to the Ravens for Alexander and a 2027 seventh-rounder. Simple, efficient, and very Howie. To make room, the Eagles placed Marcus Epps and Azeez Ojulari on injured reserve, clearing the path for yet another bold defensive experiment. And while some fans shook their heads, wondering why risk it, others saw the familiar pattern. This is what Roseman does: he buys low, he bets on redemption, and somehow, it usually works. Because under that confident grin, Roseman doesn't just see players. He sees possibilities. He sees what could be, not what was. Once upon a time, Alexander was one of the best in the game. Back in 2022, he was a Pro Bowler with 5 interceptions, locking down entire halves of the field. But 2 injury-riddled seasons later, the magic seemed gone. This year in Baltimore, he's been healthy but invisible, just 2 games played, 5 catches allowed on 5 targets, and whispers that his knee isn't the same. One Ravens insider put it bluntly: his knee looks tender, like oxtail falling off the bone. That's not exactly the scouting report you want to hear about your newest defensive piece. Still, Alexander's not walking into an empty role in Philly, he's walking into a challenge. Opposite rookie standout Quinyon Mitchell, this could be his last real chance to prove he still belongs among the league's elite. And here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just some random signing. Christian Parker, the Eagles' new defensive backs coach, once worked closely with Jaire in Green Bay. Parker believed in him then, believed in his technique, his swagger, his fight. Maybe that's why Howie pulled the trigger. Maybe this is more than a gamble, maybe it's an attempted resurrection. Because if Parker can unlock even a glimpse of the old Jaire Alexander, the one who used to taunt top receivers and smile while breaking up passes, Philadelphia's secondary could go from patchwork to dangerous in an instant. One thing's for sure, this isn't the end of Howie's plan. It's only the opening move. When Howie Roseman starts stacking trades this close to the deadline, it means something's coming. Something big. Stay tuned, Eagles fans, because the storm isn't over yet. It's only gathering strength. There's always a method to Howie Roseman's madness. Every move he makes looks random until, suddenly, the pieces snap together like a master chess game in the fourth quarter. And this trade for Jaire Alexander? It might just be the first domino to fall. The 2 paths ahead inside the Novacare complex: there are 2 ways this could play out. Option A: the Eagles truly believe cornerbacks coach Christian Parker can resurrect Jaire's Pro Bowl form. Parker knows him, knows his swagger, his technique, the way he locks into receivers like a shadow. If anyone can fix Alexander's game, it's the man who once built him into a star in Green Bay. And at pennies on the dollar, it's the kind of low-risk, high-reward move Roseman loves to make. Option B: Jaire isn't a savior at all. He's depth, insurance. A veteran safety net in a cornerback room that's about to change. Because there's real noise coming out of Philly that one of their current corners, Khalil Ringo, Adoree Jackson, or Khalil Ringo, could be shipped out in the next few days. That's right. Philadelphia's not done. They might be clearing the deck for something bigger. Howie's balancing act: Roseman isn't just making trades. He's engineering a roster. Every decision is about depth, chemistry, and playoff readiness. The Eagles' defense has been bruised, but it's still built to contend, and Howie knows he can't afford a single weak link. That's why this move feels like preparation, not reaction. Because right after the Jair trade dropped, a new report hit the wire that turned heads across the league. The edge rusher mystery. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe dropped the bomb late Saturday night. The Philadelphia Eagles would like to trade for Dolphins edge rusher Jaelan Phillips, at the right price. And that's when everything started to make sense. Phillips thrived under Vic Fangio in Miami, posting 6.5 sacks in 2023 before his season-ending Achilles injury. Fangio knows exactly what the young pass rusher can do: his burst, his bend, his hunger. And now that Fangio is in Philadelphia, it's not hard to see the dots connecting. Bradley Chubb might have been the bigger name, but Phillips is younger, cheaper, and still on his rookie contract. He's got 4 years on Chubb and fits perfectly into Howie's long-term vision: talent, youth, and financial flexibility. The Athletic even reported that Miami could be asking for a third-round pick. Roseman happens to have 3 of those in next April's draft. Do the math. Of course, every rumor in the NFL is a smokescreen until it's not. The Dolphins could be baiting other teams. The Eagles could be bluffing. But history tells us one thing: when reports like this surface near the trade deadline and Howie's name is involved, something's already in motion behind the scenes. So maybe Jair Alexander isn't the end. Maybe he's just the spark. Because when the Eagles start stacking defensive pieces like this, one thing's certain: Howie Roseman's about to drop something massive. The calm before the storm never lasts long in Philadelphia. The hunt never stops in Philadelphia. Not when Howie Roseman smells weakness in the trenches. Not when the Eagles' defense, proud, bruised, and hungry, knows they're just one more piece away from domination. Because right now, that missing piece might be wearing aqua and orange down in Miami. The case for Jaelan Phillips. Jaelan Phillips isn't just another name on a trade rumor sheet, he's a storm trapped inside shoulder pads. 3 sacks so far this year. 5 quarterback pressures in his last game against the Ravens. He's heating up at exactly the right time. Plug him into this Philadelphia front, next to Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, and the ageless Brandon Graham, and you've got chaos brewing. The kind of chaos offensive lines wake up sweating over. Sure, there's another option. Bradley Chubb. He's got pedigree, he's got power, but he's also got a massive contract. Phillips? Younger. Cheaper. And still playing like he's got something to prove. If this were poker, Howie Roseman's already pushed his chips to the center of the table. All in, on Phillips. A Miami shakeup. Here's where things get even more interesting. Just days ago, the Dolphins fired their general manager. The new man in charge, an interim GM with deep Philadelphia ties. He worked alongside Joe Douglas in Chicago and Matt Russell in Denver. That's more than coincidence, that's a direct line between front offices. And when Howie smells opportunity, he doesn't wait. He attacks. The dream that won't die, Myles Garrett. Of course, every Eagles fan's dream trade, the one that would shake the entire NFL, is still Myles Garrett. His name's been floating through the streets of Philly like a legend, the kind of move that would turn the Eagles' pass rush into a nightmare factory. But as of now, Cleveland's locking the doors. According to The Athletic, teams have called, and the Browns aren't budging. Myles Garrett is not getting traded, they said. He's a Brown, and he'll remain a Brown. Maybe it's the truth. Maybe it's a smokescreen. Either way, Howie's still on the phone. Still checking the temperature. Still calculating the cost. He's already proven he's willing to pay for greatness. 2 first-rounders? 3? He'd think about it. Because Howie knows first-rounders are just lottery tickets, and Myles Garrett is a sure thing. But even Howie can't dance alone. It takes 2 to tango. And Cleveland doesn't look like they're stepping onto the floor anytime soon. The Trey Hendrickson backup plan. That's where Trey Hendrickson enters the conversation. The Bengals are taking calls, not just from Philly, but from nearly every contender in the league. The 49ers, Lions, Colts, all circling, all hungry. The word is, Cincinnati doesn't want to move their core. But when teams say that, it usually means one thing: they're waiting for someone to pay up. And if a bidding war breaks out for Hendrickson, you can bet Roseman will be right in the middle of it, calculator in one hand, contract folder in the other, ready to pounce. Because this isn't about desperation. This is about timing. The Eagles are in their Super Bowl window now. They can't afford to let it close quietly. If the Dolphins hesitate, if the Browns refuse, if the Bengals play hardball, one thing's for certain: Howie's already got the next phone call lined up. He's not chasing names. He's chasing rings. Let's be honest, Trey Hendrickson fits Philadelphia's personality. He's relentless, he's physical, he's got that underdog fire that Philly fans fall in love with. But here's the problem: he's 30, expensive, and nearing the end of his contract. Howie's not just chasing production, he's chasing sustainability. And that's why, no matter how much the front office loves Hendrickson's energy, they might have to let that one go. Because Roseman's eyes are on something else. Something younger. Something faster. Enter Jermaine Johnson. For weeks, fans and insiders speculated, could the Eagles actually make a run at the Jets' young star, Jermaine Johnson? Now, that speculation has turned into smoke. And where there's smoke, in Philadelphia, there's usually fire. The Athletic confirmed it: the Eagles have asked about Johnson. And that makes perfect sense. Joe Douglas, the man who drafted Johnson in New York, is now a major figure inside the Eagles' personnel department. He knows what the kid can do. He saw it up close. At just 25, Johnson still has years of growth ahead. When healthy, he's explosive, one of those rare edge rushers who wins with both power and bend. The Jets are holding out for a second-round pick or better. That's a steep price, sure. But unlike Hendrickson, Johnson's got youth, potential, and time on his side. And when you're building for this season and the next 5, that matters. The battle between air and sea right now, it feels like a race between two fronts, the Dolphins and the Jets. Jaelan Phillips versus Jermaine Johnson. One forged in Miami's chaos, the other hardened by New York's grind. Both would look terrifying in midnight green. Both would turn this defensive line from dangerous to deadly. If Howie could have his way, he'd grab both. But this is chess, not checkers, and every move has a cost. If Phillips is the move, and that's where most insiders are leaning, the price might include young corner Kali Ringo and a late-round pick. Miami gets a developmental defensive back. The Eagles get a pass rusher who could reignite their front seven. It's risky. It's bold. It's very Howie Roseman. The feeling in Philadelphia inside the locker room, the players can feel it too, that quiet tension before something big happens. They've seen this movie before. They know when Howie's quiet, something's coming. This isn't a front office trying to survive the season. It's a front office trying to win the Super Bowl. Every phone call, every whisper, every rumor, it's all pointing to one moment. A city waiting for the call somewhere in South Philly, fans are refreshing Twitter. At the NovaCare complex, staffers are staying late. And inside Howie's office, you can bet there's a phone that never stops ringing. Because this isn't just about adding a pass rusher. This is about legacy. And when the dust settles, whether it's Phillips, Johnson, or someone no one saw coming, you can bet the Eagles will walk away stronger. That's just how Howie operates.